the Eagles are a one-man show, straight up. Carson Wentz, if somehow someone finds a way to stop Carson Wentz, or he gets injured, it's over. It's done. It's donezo. The best example I can give to you, last year, the Raiders. The Raiders, right? The Raiders were a surprise team. Derek Carr playing his ass off. One of the best teams for sure in the AFC. For sure going to the playoffs. Going to give people fits. And what happened? They had a good defensive line. Shit secondary. Just like the Eagles. They didn't have any wide receiver. Amari Cooper's not that good. Alright? Crabtree, I think, is better than Amari Cooper at times. They didn't really have a run game. They had Derek Carr. And then what happens right before they are obviously going to the playoffs? Derek Carr gets hurt. What do they do in the playoffs? Nada. Nothing. And then Derek Carr, in the NFL, injuries come. You get an injury, and then chances are you're going to get another injury sooner rather than later after you got that one injury, right? Derek Carr was hurt this year. Missed a game or two already. And I like Derek Carr. I think he's what he did. Like I said, he's kind of the same over there on the Raiders. He's kind of like a one-man band over there on the Raiders. He was in the talks for MVP race last year, and then what happens at the end of the year? He got hurt, man. He got hurt. And that's just, it's not, when it comes down to the Eagles and Carson Wentz, it's not if. It's when, dude. When? When is it going to happen? Us as Redskins fans, we know what it's like. We know what it's like having a quarterback that either runs the ball unnecessarily just to put the team on his back and has to run for his life. We know what it's like. We know what it's like firsthand. If you want advice on this situation, come to a Redskins fan because we know all about it. Now, am I saying Carson Wentz is RG3? No, I'm not. RG3 was way more brittle. He was skinnier. He didn't have the pocket presence and stuff like that Carson Wentz has. Carson Wentz is a much bigger built guy and everything, but this is the NFL, dude. It's not if, it's when. When is it gonna happen? When is that one shot gonna happen? Another comparison. At the same time RG3 came into the league, do you remember a guy who was highly rated coming out of college football, and he's supposed to be the guy. He's supposed to be the next Peyton Manning. The guy's smart, but guess what? He also runs. He uses his legs. He extends plays and he runs. And do you know who I'm talking about? Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck. And what is Andrew Luck doing right now? Do you know what Andrew Luck's doing right now? Nothing. He's sitting on this goddamn sideline. He's probably not even at the game. He's probably not even there. He's broken. Andrew Luck has been destroyed the past couple years, and that's because he runs the football, and because he has to run the football because his offensive line isn't that good. I just see the similarities here with the Eagles, man. So that's why I'm tired of all this, the whole Carson Wentz thing. Don't get me wrong, I respect Carson Wentz. I respect the Eagles right now. And looking at their schedule that they got coming here, the last end half of their schedule or whatever, man, these guys got it made now. They already played through their rough part of the schedule. They got the easy part coming up. I fully expect them to finish the season strong, but I just see the similarities there too much between Andrew Luck, a guy coming out of college and was supposed to be the next Peyton Manning, and he also can extend plays, he can run the football, he runs for first downs, but guess what? Takes a lot of shots. Takes a lot of shots. Same thing with Carson Wentz. Pretty sure Carson Wentz is the most hit quarterback in the NFL this year. It's not if, it's when. So I had to hear it during the game, and I had to hear it from all these Eagles fans. Oh, get ready to to have to deal with Carson Wentz for the next 10 years. He's going to be a powerhouse in the NFC East. Slow down, dude. Carson Wentz is a smart guy. But we know as Redskins fans firsthand, if you don't learn to slide, if you don't learn to throw the football away, bad things are going to happen to you, man. It's not if, it's when. And Carson Wentz is a tough SOB, man. He is. Give him credit. He's tough. He had broken ribs last year. Last year, someone broke his ribs in preseason, and he played through that. But I'm just saying, it's not if, it's when, dude.
Wentz to his right. Flag is down, and Wentz in for the touchdown, but a flag thrown. And there's the hit, and I think for the most part he does a pretty good job of protecting himself. But when you start getting hit down,
but here's what he said about Carson Wentz. The bad news came to fruition. This is awful.
Torn ACL. Torn ACL. It appears, yes.
Hey yo, what's up everybody? It's B Milton. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host here on the Redskins Review, and as you can see, I am wearing a Clinton Portis jersey. Not sure if it's real or not or whatever, but it's definitely old. My aunt gave it to me over the weekend. Just she had it in her basement or whatever, and she knows I'm into the Redskins, so she gave it to me. So that's cool. I got an old Clinton Portis jersey, and I figured I would wear the Clinton Portis jersey on the episode today because I would feel pretty bad wearing any of the current players' jerseys because they don't want to play football anymore. Apparently, seeing that we lost to the Chargers that bad. So I figured I'd go with a weird-looking old throwback Clinton Portis jersey for today's show. I actually knew that I wasn't going to be able to make a video last night, so I wrote down a bunch of notes when I was watching the game. And yes, I watched the entire Redskins Chargers game. I didn't deviate to any other game because I'm not an Eagles fan. I'm a Redskins fan. So I watched the entire Redskins game. I figured I could watch the Eagles and the Rams later. Because why? Because if you watch the entire intro to this video, you saw basically I knew something was going to end up happening to Carson Wentz. Unfortunate, but I knew it was going to happen. But yeah, that could have happened to our players. That could have happened to Kirk Cousins. And you're sitting there watching. You're watching a Rams-Eagles game, and Kirk Cousins could have blew his ACL out or something, and then you learn from ESPN the next day instead of watching your own team play football. So, yeah, if you watch that whole intro and you saw what I even made the same exact comparison a month ago. I made the same exact comparison to Carson Wentz and the Raiders and Derek Carr, and how they lost Derek Carr right before they were about to get into the playoffs. Is that not a just complete perfect comparison that I made a month ago to the situation that the Eagles are in now? Luckily, the Eagles have Nick Foles, and I think Nick Foles can do some things, but is Nick Foles going to make noise in the playoffs? Doubt it. So I'm just sitting around here wondering, when are you guys going to listen to me? When are people going to watch this show and just actually listen to what I'm saying, man? Like, I feel like sometimes I come up here and I'm just talking and it's going in one ear and out the other with some of these people that are watching the video. I mean, I clearly just stated exactly what was going to happen a month ago, and then it happens. And my entire channel, I started it the same exact time, pretty much, when Jay Gruden said, hey, guess what, Kirk Cousins, you're going to start over RG3. And the entire time, I sat up here, and I came up here and said a very unpopular thing, which is Kirk Cousins was the right direction to go in, and that Kirk Cousins is the man, and that he's going to be a good quarterback one day, and nobody else wanted to hear that. Nobody wanted to hear that. And I had a bunch of trolls on this channel trying to, tell me how wrong I am, and this and that, and call me names and everything, and they faded away. They're not really around anymore, just because they don't have nothing to say. But it's just like, I sit here and I literally just watch with my eyeballs and I see what's happening, and I'm gonna say common sense shit up here, but people don't want to hear common sense shit. They don't want to hear it, and I don't. Whatever, dude. So let's get into the Chargers game. Straight up, nobody came to play. Nobody came to play, man. What a disastrous showing. I thought that we could win this game. I thought that even with all the injuries that we have, I also don't know the extent of the injury of Zach Brown, as you guys saw him get carted off. I don't know that's something I'm gonna have to keep an eye on. But even through all the injuries and everything, I didn't think we were gonna come out like that, man. I really did not think that we were gonna just come out there, and it literally looked like the Redskins were practicing. It looked like they were on a practice field. And the other team, the Chargers looked like a team that wants to go to the goddamn playoffs. They looked like a team that tried. And my God, were we exposed in the secondary. I love DJ Swanger, and I love what he brings to this football team. I think with him and Monte Nicholson, a healthy Monte Nicholson, which who knows if we'll ever see that again. But I think with those two on the football field, what we saw in this game, where we're getting exposed by the Chargers, Phillip Rivers is a smart guy. I've always respected Phillip Rivers. If we get rid of Kirk Cousins, and for some reason Phillip Rivers can come to DC, I would gladly take Phillip Rivers if we lose Kirk Cousins. Also, before I even get into what I was about to say, straight up, Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback in this division. Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback in the NFC East, and it's time that people wake up. Like, I feel like, I'm sure you guys are even tired of me having to say this, but like, when is everyone going to wake up and realize this? Kirk Cousins doesn't get hurt. He comes out there, tries his damnedest to win, even when he has no receivers, a banged-up offensive line, even though we have no run game, which I'll get to that later, and P. Ryan. Kirk Cousins, as of right now, is the best quarterback in the NFC East. Yes, he's better than Dak Prescott. Yes, he's better than Eli Manning, which Eli Manning, if you look in the grand scheme of things, yes, Eli Manning is the best quarterback in the NFC East. He has 2 Super Bowl MVPs. He was the man. But as of right now, I'm talking about as of this season, as of last season, as of every single season that Kirk Cousins has been the starter the past 3 years, Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback in this division. And I just don't understand how anyone would deviate from that. Carson Wentz, phenomenal. But is he phenomenal when he can't play football in the playoffs? Is he phenomenal when he can't stay healthy? When he has broken ribs last year? When he has a torn ACL now? Who knows when he's going to be back next year? I'm sure he's going to come back. And then if he comes back, at what health is he going to come back? Look at Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco tore his ACL, and guess what? He ain't the same. And he's not even a running quarterback. This is he played a great game. He played a pretty good game last night versus the Steelers, which, by the way, doesn't it suck to sit here and watch the Redskins literally give up and play on the field like they're practicing, and then watching the Rams and Eagles game, and then watching the Steelers and Ravens game, and watching teams trying? It's just, I didn't think the Redskins were going to I didn't think this season was going to end like this. We were watching some damn good football the first couple weeks of the season, and we seriously thought with an improved defense we were going to do something this year. And now it is a heartbreaker to watch our team just go out there and just go through the motions and like not want to play football, besides a couple people. But point is, Joe Flacco ain't the same after he tore his ACL. We know all about RG3. Wasn't the same, even though he tore his ACL a couple times. And the thing is, I even said in the video, Carson Wentz is a smart guy. He has the tools. He has the arm. He has the pocket presence. He can be a pocket quarterback. He can. But he's going to have to be. There's no more of you saw the best of Carson Wentz. This year, you saw the best of Carson Wentz. The scrambling, the the evasive maneuvers and running for touchdowns or running for first downs or whatever, you're not going to see it again. It's done. It's done with. You're not going to see him like that again. He's going to have to be a pocket quarterback. And I think he can be that. Carson Wentz is a smart guy. He's a tough son of a bitch. I'm not extremely doubting him, but it just makes sense. And it's true that in the NFL, after you accrue, or just in sports in general, after you accrue a major injury like this, more injuries tend to come sooner rather than later. But by the time you get your next injury, he's only been in the NFL for how long, and he's already gotten multiple injuries. He's going to be seeing more of those injuries sooner rather than later. So that's why I'm telling you, Kirk Cousins is the best goddamn quarterback in this division. Even though the Redskins are 5-8 right now, it doesn't matter. We got the best quarterback, and we're probably going to let this dude walk after this season. Did you see Kirk Cousins' face on the sideline? Did you see Jay Gruden's face on the sideline? Kirk Cousins is ready, man. He's ready to move on, dude, for real. And, you know, now we can get into the whole off-season discussion and, you know, what we're going to do and evaluating players. And that's what we should be doing right now. That's what we should be doing right now, is evaluating Josh Doctson and evaluating Ryan Grant. Anthony Lanier is one of the only bright spots of this football game where he's made a couple plays. Anthony Lanier wants to make the team next year. Who else wants to make the team? We need to figure that out. Can people stay healthy? Do you deserve to make the football team next year? That's what we need to figure out from here on out. And getting back to Kirk Cousins, even though I'm sitting here calling him the best quarterback in the division, he had a bad game, probably his worst game of the season. He had a QBR of 29 and a rating of 68. His worst game of the season. Now, the entire team didn't look like they wanted to try. Kirk Cousins tried. When he threw the interception down the field, he's trying. He's trying to make something happen. What have we heard all the time? Oh, Kirk Cousins is just a dink and dunk quarterback. And then this year, he's one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league. Why? Because he's holding on to the football, because he wants to throw the ball down the field for it to be intercepted, because probably Vernon Davis, or they're not on the same page. And he's trying to make something happen. And then now there's going to be people, oh, Kirk Cousins, he's throwing interceptions and he's putting our team in a bad position. Yeah, because we're already in a bad position, because we're down 10-0, because we don't have a run game, because we don't have a defense. Our defense gave up, yet again, 30-some goddamn points. 30 points. Man, this defense is just, we thought we were fooled again. Every single year we're fooled. We think this defense is different every single year. We think we see something different in this defense, and they just become the same defense. Giving up 30 points, we have to have, like, within the last 5 defenses in the league, and then we're still sitting here doing the same thing. People want to call for Jay Gruden's head. People want to call for Kirk Cousins' head when we have the worst bottom 5 defenses in the league. P. Ryan, okay, so another thing, I am ready to admit when I'm wrong. Most of the time when I have to admit that I'm wrong, it's a good thing. And P. Ryan is growing on me, all right? P. Ryan only had, what did he do in this game? P. Ryan had 17 carries for 45 yards. He's averaging like 2 yards a carry. But P. Ryan is growing on me, all right? And someone tried to call me out and say, oh, didn't you like P. Ryan when we drafted him, and then you started, you know, talking shit about him and calling him average and all this? And yes, I did. When we drafted him, I didn't like P. Ryan. I liked what he brought to this team in a dynamic. If you go back to what I said in my draft video, I said I like having Rob Kelly and having P. Ryan to come in on short yardage situations and pound the rock in. I like the dynamic that we had. I didn't specifically like P. Ryan as an individual. I didn't want P. Ryan to come out here and have to be our #1 guy in his rookie season, just like I don't want Josh Doctson to have to come out here and be our #1 guy in his quote-unquote rookie season because he was hurt all last year. It makes no sense. It sucks. That's not what winning football teams do, to sit here and put pressure on all these new, younger guys. And we're not a good football team. And we let yes, we're going to bring it up again. We let Pierre Garçon go. It would have made much more sense to have Pierre Garçon be our rock, and then guess what? Then we can see what we can do with Josh Doxson, take pressure off of him, and then see what plays he can make, and then get rid of Pierre Garçon if we wanted to after we bring Josh Doxson along. It makes no sense. We're doing the same thing with Pirine, and that's why he struggled all year and looked average as shit all year, because we're forcing him to have to do something as a rookie, and he has no mentorship. That's not what winning football teams do. It's not a good thing to do. So that's why I harped on Pirine all year, but he's more patient. We might have something there. I still don't want Pirine to be our #1 running back next year, but he's solid, and he seems to be growing into the role, and I'm gonna admit that I like what I'm seeing out of Pirine. Some of the cuts he's making, some of the patience he has going all the way to the outside. He's one of the only bright spots. He even got hurt again in this game, but he seems to come back and play all the time. The dude's tough. And God knows we don't want our other running backs who we don't even know. Byron Marshall, the dude got hurt on like the first kickoff of the goddamn game. It just comes back. Kirk Cousins doesn't get injured. He doesn't. I don't understand how people still are going to look at this man and sit here and say, oh, he sucks, or this, or we don't want him back, and, for the price, or yada yada. Kirk Cousins is greedy. Everyone wants to say negative shit about Kirk Cousins. The dude doesn't get hurt. The dude is available. The guy plays his ass off. Even though this is one of his worst games, he still tries. There's a lot of other people out there on that football field not trying. The entire defense not trying. And my God, Preston Smith is becoming the next Andre Roberts for me. You guys know I don't like to shit on players. I don't like to come out and call out our own players. I don't like to harp on our own players. Yes, I called Pirine average, but that's not. He is what he is. He's a solid backup choice. He's in a different role that he's not supposed to be in right now. But Preston Smith, we drafted him to be something, and he is just not existent. Straight up non-existent. And we need to be looking for a different option, and that's what I'm going to transition into this, which is I have a bunch of people ask me over and over and over again already, even though the past couple games I wasn't ready to talk about the offseason, now I'm ready to talk about the offseason, and I have a lot of people ask me, they say, hey, what should we draft in the first round? Should we draft a running back or a wide receiver? Because we need both. And if that is the way that you are thinking right now, if we need to draft a running back or a wide receiver in the first round, you're wrong. You're dead wrong. What we need to do in this draft coming up obviously depends on what we do in the free agency and everything. But if your mentality is to draft a running back or a wide receiver in the first round, this draft, it's just everything's shooting over your head. What we need is to build our offensive and defensive lines. We need to make our offensive and defensive line our skill positions. All right? I live in Baltimore. The Ravens were having one of their worst goddamn years I've ever seen them have. And barring that they have a very easy schedule and they didn't have to play a lot of starting quarterbacks, they got to play the Raiders without Derek Carr. They got to play the Browns. They got to play, who else? The Green Bay Packers without Aaron Rodgers. They got to play the Texans without Deshaun Watson. They had an easy-ass schedule, all right? But guess what? And their offense didn't do shit all goddamn year. And they were having a down year. But you know what happened? They have a defensive line. They have a stout defensive line and a few pieces on both of their offensive lines. And they just have a defensive presence. And we don't have that. And all year long, their offense did not a goddamn thing. Not a goddamn thing. And guess what? They're fighting to get into the playoffs right now. And they're probably going to get in. And they're getting healthy at the right time. And why? Because of their goddamn defensive line puts so much pressure on other quarterbacks. And we don't have that. And that's what we need to aim to. So that even when we have a down year, we have something happening. We have people who are going to keep us in ball games. We have people who are going to get turnovers. We don't have that. And it starts with the defensive line. We need pass rush. We need to start thinking about our offensive line. We need to start thinking about what's going to happen at left guard, what's going to happen at center. God forbid something happened to either of our tackles. We need more Brandon Scherfs. That's what we need. Everyone back in the day, a lot of people disliked our pick, our number 5 overall pick on Brandon Scherf. People were saying, oh, Leonard Williams or whatever is there. We could have got him on the defensive line. I loved the pick. I loved it. If we go out and we spend a number 15 pick in the draft this year or whatever on another person, another offensive lineman that's supposed to be a tackle that we're gonna turn into a left guard, that's gonna be another Brandon Scherf, I will gladly take it. I will gladly take it. I don't care. I don't care if there's good wide receivers or star, the next Odell Beckham Jr. looking players at the wide receiver position where people are going to be taking that in the first round of the draft. Give me an offensive lineman like Brandon Scherf. Give me a defensive lineman like Matt. If we could get another Matt Ioannidis, we need a nose tackle. We need we need someone to stop the run on a defensive line, and we need pass rush. That is the number one thing you should be thinking as a Redskins fan on what we're going to do on this offseason is we need a pass rush. Bashaud Breeland ain't that bad. Josh Norman ain't this bad. We have no pressure on the quarterback. This is what happens to a $75 million corner looks like trash when we have one safety, DJ Swanger, who's not the fastest guy, and Josh Norman, not the fastest guy. Phillip Rivers is smart, and he's saying, hey, they don't have Monte Nicholson, the only safety they have that has range to him, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna suck DJ Swanger up because we know DJ Swanger likes to play the run, and we're just gonna do flea flickers and we're gonna throw bombs down the field because Josh Norman ain't fast enough and DJ Swanger ain't fast enough. Man, they tore our ass up. They were thinking outside the box. They were thinking like a team that wanted to win. They were thinking like a team that wanted to go to the playoffs, and we were non-existent. So let me get into some of this. So Anthony Lanier gets his hands up, and finally a tipped pass, but it wasn't intercepted. It could have been. Finally getting plays from defensive linemen when they aren't getting to the quarterback. When our defensive line isn't getting to the quarterback, I said this a couple videos ago, when's the last time we had a tip ball that went up in the air and we intercepted it like some other team did to Kirk Cousins, the Cowboys did? We aren't getting that. Anthony Lanier, he's trying his ass off. There's a few people trying their ass off, and he's one of them, and he needs to be on the team next year, even if he's not a starter. Crowder is hit by the safety. Yeah, Crowder got blown up by the safety. The flag is thrown and then picked up. How is that not hitting a defenseless receiver? He led with his head into Crowder and hit him instantly when he caught the ball. Now, I'm not one to like these penalties. I don't like those types of penalties. This is football. If your job is to stop someone from catching a football. But how many games and how many times do you see a ref throw that flag, and it's a real flag? But for us, it's not a real flag. These refs this year are non-consistent, and to be honest with you, I've seen so many bad calls, even in the Ravens and Steelers game. My God, was that a flag fest, and a lot of them were bad calls. All year this year, these referees are as bad as the replacement refs. For real. So many bad calls, and how is that not? If you're going to call those flags, why not be consistent with it? I don't understand. 3rd and 2. We have it 3rd and 2 on our first drive of the game, and we're stuffed on a run to the right-hand side. And I just wrote down, when did we become a running team? Why all of a sudden on 3rd and 2 are we going to run the football? Yes, the Chargers were like the 31st running defense, but we apparently can't run on them. So, and we're going to run for it on 3rd and 2. Breeland is being I wrote down that Breeland is being pushed off of a lot in the very beginning of the game. Ryan Anderson has a personal foul penalty, and penalties are mounting. Ryan Anderson, another guy. a waste of a second-round draft pick. This guy is only getting us penalties and not making any plays on the football field. He's done more for us being a fullback than his actual position. And then we wonder why the Redskins are having a down year. Josh Norman has a face mask penalty. Marshall goes down on the kickoff. He's hurt. Kirk throws an interception. We're already down by 10. He's just trying to force the ball and make something happen. And there's a miscommunication with Davis. It is what it is, man. We get amazing pressure on Rivers, and he throws the ball way early. And Keenan Allen still catches the football. If Quentin Dunbar would have just gotten his head turned around, it would have been a very easy interception. And I knew this game was going downhill when we decided to not have our $75 million cornerback cover Keenan Allen, and we just want to put Quentin Dunbar Jr. on him and not Bashaw Breeland. Yeah, that's when I knew we were in for a rough day. Chargers playing like they got something to play for. Kerrigan is being held on almost every play that I saw. Ryan Grant has a 28-yard catch. I love Ryan Grant. Some plays, he made the same exact catch. If you go back and you watch this 28-yard catch by Ryan Grant, it's the same exact play that in the Cowboys game, it hits Jamison Crowder on his fingertips and he doesn't catch it and it goes over his head and it's intercepted. Ryan Grant made that catch. It's the same play. It's the same play, same high throw. Ryan Grant caught that. And why we didn't go back to Ryan Grant in this game, I don't know. That's his only catch in the game. And then we wonder why we only scored one touchdown in the game. Niles Paul on a big fourth down catch, and he got a hit and he held on to it. Gruden is trying to run the ball, which I like since Kirk threw an interception early, but we're not getting much done in the run game. Kirk escapes the pressure and throws a 25-yard touchdown pass to Vernon Davis. Nick Rose misses the extra point. Don't know if it was his fault really or the holder, whatever. Chargers first play, fool Josh Norman and DJ Swanger for a 75-yard touchdown. Breeland should be the kick returner. Breeland has done more as a kick returner than anyone else on our team this year. The only reason I didn't like putting Bashaw Breeland back for punt and kick returns is because I don't want him to get hurt. And he's a much better corner than a lot of you out there like to think he is. And he's valuable on our defense, and I don't want him to get hurt. But as of right now and how the season's going, we need to evaluate people. And if Bashaw Breeland is our best kick returner, put his ass out there. Let him catch the ball. Let him get some yards. 4th and 4, Davis needs to dive for this catch. Kirk Cousins put the ball he put the ball at the only place he could have put it to be safe. And, I mean, I love Vernon Davis, but you have to dive for that football, man. The game's on the line, man. We are about to go 5-8. Dive for that football, bro. Josh Norman doesn't travel, so now we're got to watch Keenan Allen and Quentin Dunbar. Lanier gets a sack, even though it was kind of a covered sack. Still, the guys try it. We have to praise anyone who tries, apparently. Chargers score on the first 5 drives. That hasn't happened in 6 years for the Chargers. Doxson gets beat out on a slant, which is almost picked off. That's why Kirk Cousins has no faith in him. The middle of the field is wide open. I'm wondering where DJ Swearinger is. He's not really contesting these over-the-middle passes. Probably because he was too afraid of getting burnt again. Skins' defense gives up over 357 yards in the first half. Of course, Rivers and Allen hit a flea flicker. DJ and Norman aren't fast enough to cover. This is why we missed Monte Nicholson so bad. P. Ryan is having a good game, even though he's averaging like 2 yards a carry. I think what he's doing with what we have with the offensive line, I think he's improving. Josh Doxson was clearly held on the deep pass. How is that not pass interference? And if you watch the game, you know what I'm talking about. Sure, Josh Doxson tried to flop a little bit, but he most definitely got a hand on his back and grabbed him on this deep pass. It just blows my mind how that was not pass interference. And that was like a 50-yard bomb. That could have been a touchdown. And the refs didn't call that. The refereeing this year, not just versus the Redskins. Did you watch the Steelers-Ravens game last night? The refereeing this year is god-awful. 4th quarter, and we finally send pressure, and we're getting to Phillip Rivers. In the 4th quarter, we're just like, screw it. Let's just blitz and just put pressure on Phillip Rivers, and it started to work. It just took to the fourth quarter. Breland has a 96-yard interception return. I don't really know what else to say. We need to start evaluating players. We need to start start forcing the ball to Josh Doxson. If we have one-on-one with Josh Doxson on the outside, throw the ball to him. I don't care if it's intercepted. I don't care if we lose because of interceptions. I want to see what Josh Doxson has. I want to see what he can do. Same goes with Ryan Grant. Same goes with all of the receivers we have. Brian Quick. Let's see if Brian Quick's got something. Let's see. Let's evaluate these players, man. And let's see what Jeremy Sprinkle can do. We need to evaluate people. If we need to start putting in Josh Harvey Clemens and people like that on the defense, put them in, dude. See what they can do. What are we going to lose another game? Who cares? We're already done. We're done for. So we need to start thinking about next year. We need to start building. I would love to win some more football games. People who think, oh, we should tank so we can get a better. No. This is about winning. I would rather win and get a lesser draft pick. I don't give a shit. I want to win. I don't want that. That's a loser's mentality. So this is going to be a long episode. This is a long video. I already had like a 10-minute thing before this, and now this is gone for 30 minutes. This game probably didn't even warrant me to talk 30 minutes about it. So I appreciate you watching. I do. And if you guys comment, I'll try to get back to you. I know the last video I did, it was hard to get back to people. I'm in school and shit's winding down here, and I got a lot to do. So it's just been harder for me to get back to you guys, but I'm going to try the best I can. I'm going to try harder than the Redskins tried versus the Chargers to get back to you guys on your comments. So I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. Hail to the Redskins.